So let's talk about the series. I know for you, Haley, this is like your big entrance to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Jeremy, for you, this is the chance to develop even more this character that you've been like playing for more than 10 years. So can you talk like briefly about the excitement of being part of this series and also the challenges that you have to deal with like for the series?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was excited to know that when Kevin brought it up is an idea is doing some sort of Hawkeye deal, but doing it in a streaming way. It was 6 hours, so I was already very, very excited to do it in a long form storytelling. There's a lot more information and time we could spend with character and character development. So that made it very, very exciting. The only challenges that come with that is there's you know same amount of time to shoot 2 hours. We're doing 6 hours, so there's a lot more information and this is a lot more of everything that we're doing. And but when you have a great team and a great partner, it makes it quite joyous.
So what about you, Haley?
Yeah, no, it was it's been amazing. I think there were definitely a lot of challenges as you take each day that comes when it comes. There's always something, obstacles that you have to work through, but that's on anything. And with this, it was just amazing to have such a great group of people around me and to have Jeremy by my side through the whole thing. Was really great.
And you're having like you're playing this character Kate that is it's a very interesting character because at the beginning she's kind of a mess. She's like confused. She's having like very complicated relation with her mother, and even worse relation with the guy who's dating her mother. But she's definitely very brave and well, kind of reckless too. So you gotta deal with building up that personality and also with all the physical things that we see in this series that are like quite impressive. So can you talk about that, like the mental preparation for playing her and the physical preparation too?
Yeah, of course. I knew going into this that I was playing a character who was very physical, and there would be a lot of stunt choreography and fight sequences. So I started training. I wanted to get to a place that I felt, I could show up and be confident in all of that. Because when you put all of that sort of what you were saying, the mental side on top of the physical, it's a lot happening at once, and there's a lot of moving parts. And you mentioned a lot of the relationships that Kate has with Clint, with her mom, with Jack. So I would say the biggest challenge overall was kind of figuring out what all of those were, and like you mentioned, with all of that happening at once, finding the balance and the detail in all of it.
You've been in many movies, Haley, but I don't remember seeing you before in a lot of fights. Well, maybe besides Barely Little, when you have a lot of like that movie Barely Little, you have like a bunch of action sequences. But this is like probably the most like complicated thing you've done in terms of that, of physicality. I mean, in terms of like action sequences. I mean.
Yeah. I would say yes. It's the most I've done. But it wasn't necessarily my first time by any means.
Mm-hmm. And Jeremy, I would like you to talk about, of course, your character. I mean, he's been like, he usually was like a very like a guy, like a family guy, he was different than the other Avengers because of that. He had like a good relation with his family and everything. But now he got a past, right? I mean, because running and everything. So he's also dealing with some like psychological things. There's some consequences. I think if I get it right, he's like kind of physically hurt too in some ways because of the fights he's been involved in the past. So can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, the state of mind and the physical state that he is when the series is start.
Yeah, well, physically, what's shifted and changed for him is I think will be the hearing, being hard of hearing, having hearing loss from, again, an unidentified sort of experience or just a life of explosions and fighting and things like that. Interplanetary travel, maybe that did it. But yeah, having and exploring the hearing loss in the ear, being very hard of hearing, is some physical attributes. The emotional sort of scarring that comes from the past of the 5 years is Ronan, and then the loss of Natasha and then his friends. They were, hard pill to swallow. And then that gets dealt with in the series with Kate, which ends up being a beautiful part of their friendship.
So yeah, can you talk about that working together? Because of course at the beginning of the series we see them like it's complicated, they don't like it's not gonna be easy because their personalities are like very different. But I suppose it was better between you two on set, or you try to be on the same mindset and then act like you like so much each other.
Yeah, I tried to annoy him as much as I possibly could.
I think it was me annoying her as much as I possibly could. I was much more like her character in real life, I think. But I think there's a lot of some broad lines between our characters and then our friendship. And there was a lot of mutual respect and admiration for each other. And it's wonderful to have a partner that's highly skilled and is willing and is fluid and with no ego. And couldn't be more adorable and charming. And then to go into that and get to explore our characters. The characters are already written well. There's wonderful comics as a base for our world that we're in for our characters. We always work together like in tandem to make sure that the arc of this bond or the lack thereof, wherever it was, the complications of this character was kind of the most important thing of this show. It's all supporting each other. So just as much as I want to support her as an actress.
So finally, how was working during the pandemic? That was probably very complicated.
Yeah, of course, but blessings to be working, regardless, and we're happy to do it. But yeah, it certainly changed things a lot. It changed the emotion, the experience on set. But we got through it, and everything's no issues, and everything just. I think that's for everybody, though, brother. Right? Everybody's like what we're doing. Normally, you'd be in a room with us, wouldn't you? I think like it's kind of a little different because of it, but we're just happy to be working and get it done. And
all right.
Now it's coming out here in a few days. This is awesome.